because the person lying next to Jackie Kennedy isn't her husband, John F. Kennedy. You got it?
Hello, this is Global News Update on TLBTV, courtesy of the Liberty Beacon Project. And this is where we bring you complete, backstage, and up-to-date information as to the developments occurring in our world today. And we're glad, we're proud, and, well, I'm glad, I'm proud, and I'm honored to have Greg back for show number 87, could it be? We're doing amazing. How's California, Greg?
Oh, it's overcast and cold right now.
8 o'clock this morning, minus 22. That's what it felt like. It was -3 here with about a 10-mile-an-hour wind, so it was like a minus 22 with the wind chill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're all prepared for a new year, huh?
We're right in the middle of it.
Okay, great.
So.
Oh, okay, good. Now, think about what this would be like to the Indians, Native Americans on the prairies, okay, back towards you. Can you imagine being out living in the prairies with a wind and chill factor being what it is all the time? Okay.
I think of that. I think of that every time I drive because it's flat. There's nothing holding it back. There's nothing stopping the wind.
As I was told once, and this was when I was actually up in Canada, but they said that there's nothing, standing between the North Pole and North Dakota, okay, except a barbed wire fence, all right? So, and that was told to me by a province administrator in Canada who was headed down to Saskatchewan on the North Dakota border.
Yeah.
If she thought it was cold, it must be cold. So,
in Canada, one time when I was living in New Brunswick, we had one straight week, one whole week. It was minus 55. All the schools had to be closed. It was too cold to go outside. As soon as you go outside, your nose hairs would stick. It was.
Oh my goodness! Yeah,
crazy.
I spent a couple years in a place called Yellowknife.
Yes.
All right. Everybody watching up in Canada would know immediately where that is. And I happened to be working in the Giant Mines Limited. Giant Mines just closed down, but it was one of the most productive gold mines of all time. And where I was working every day, driving an ore train, it was 58 degrees, Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad. Not warm, but it's not cold either. But immediately on the surface, I'd step out, and it was averaging 70 below zero. Okay, average. So it's sometimes even colder. Now, everyone who watches Ice Road Truckers, they know Yellowknife by now on the shores of the Great Slave Lake. So I do prefer California. All right.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay.
Well,
we've got a great show tonight. I'll tell you that.
Snapshot is going to kick butt, and we have to let people know there's a graphic warning. It will be graphic. So if you have a weak stomach, or if you're with people that are under the age that you think that they can tolerate scenes of murder and destruction and mayhem and people ripped to pieces, please stop the video now and have them leave the room or something to that nature. So we're going to start with Snapshot, Greg, and I would really like to share the screens with you for the first shot, because this is always, we have to honor the First Nations in Canada and what I call the original people here, because this is where we come from. And I wanted to talk about specifically what happened, and very quickly why DeSoto and Columbus, didn't have a problem, knowing that those women that they were raping and the children that they were killing were human, but they wanted to get rid of them at all costs. When your people came to this land, it was not with open arms, but with Bibles, guns, and disease. You took our land, you killed us with your guns and disease, and then you had the arrogance to call us godless savages. you hear it all the times. Historians that quote about how the new settlers, to be polite, like I said, saw these savages as animals, as vermin, to basically be squashed and done away with. It was just open season on the Indians, and they saw them basically as trash. And this is what I wanted to share in particular today, because there are humans that consider other people as trash, like we're seeing here. And this is the pun that I want to bring home: the humans and how they live, and the animals and how they live. So remind me again, who's more civilized, right? This is how genocide works today. For some reason, the settler society, they really want to get rid of the indigenous. And this is exactly what happened in our country called the United States of America Incorporated. And in Palestine, as we're going to see in a second, as we're looking at right now, actually, they see the Palestinians as exactly that. And I'm really proud to be able to start Snapshot in this way, because when you know something and you keep quiet, it's called complicity. It's called feeding the tacit agreement, which is exactly what it implies. It's saying that the government is taking advantage of our ignorance, not ignorance really, but our laziness, our couch-fed and materialistic dumbed-down attitude that feeds them unopposed. So all we do is we chomp on our popcorn, we watch movies, we screw around on our partners, and we couldn't care less. Today on this show, the message is, as the people are becoming more and more aware of, is that this settler society, the illegal entity, the genocidal regime, the Zionist cabal, they see everyone that opposes them as trash. And I wrote something on social media today that I'd like to read to you. This is the truth that got Rachel Corrie killed. This is the truth that so many have died for. This is the face of evil, and this is the face of Israel. Look at the man's face. Look at the flag. Let that sink in a little bit, because this is exactly what they did in Rwanda. In the Rwanda genocide, and you can Google that too anytime you want, they actually put bodies across the road to, discourage driving on them. So it's very obvious that this is how they treat people that they see as non-humans. But hey, they love their work, right? And they love ganging up on one child. Can you count how many there are there? This is a 14-year-old kid that they apprehended, okay? Simply, it's designed to promote fear into the hearts of the targeted people. And it's a psychological game the whole way. In the case of AHED TAMIMI, and by the way, AHED means the promise, and she promises to give Palestine back to her people. Very quickly, we know by now that she was arrested after she was seen on video kicking and slapping an Israeli officer because he had shot her cousin in the face with a rubber bullet, no matter, right? As he was peacefully protesting our president's illegal claim of Jerusalem being the capital of Israel. And do you notice the shirts they have on? Did you see that? Did you see the shirts? It says love. And she has a shirt that says love too. And she looks at an Israeli officer. Funny thing, it's a woman too. So it's like a woman-to-woman thing. And she says, "What the hell would you do if they shot your cousin, and put him in hospital and put him in an induced coma?" So let's look closely at what the Zionist authoritative and genocidal answer is to all of this by the Justice Minister after her family's horrifying ordeal, because it was told that they roughed up her family too after stealing all kinds of stuff in their house, bulldozing their way around. Look at this: Palestinian teen who slapped soldier faces possible life in jail, but an Israeli soldier who murdered a Palestinian gets a pardon. This is the defense minister that says the Palestinian who slapped the soldier will get what she deserves. And in small print, if you can't read it, whoever goes wild during the day will be arrested at night. This is also an important message, he said. See, so it just continues. And Greg, I thought of you and I when we talk about ISIS. I found this on social media too, which is, asking for money again that probably won't even get to them. Christians in the Middle East are pleading, no one cares about us, as if we're not human. They say that ISIS torment is more difficult than death. ISIS torment. Greg, we have the big four that we always talk about. You want to name them for me? The ISIS four, the famous four, the fabulous four, the forefathers of ISIS. I always say Hillary Clinton and Joe Lieberman, and you always add the other two.
Oh, yeah, Joe Lieberman, John McCain. All right, everyone knows John McCain.
Yeah.
And who else was it? John McCain and Lindsey Graham.
There we go, and Lindsey Graham. So we call them the forefathers. Forefathers, just like the forefathers quote. Right. Well, guess what? Things are changing, folks. We therefore have decided not to participate in the occupation and oppression of the Palestinian people, which separates people into two hostile camps. The temporary situation has been going on for 50 years, and we will not continue to enable it, said the dozens of youth that signed a letter refusing to serve the occupation. And it's really good to see that. 63 Israeli students signed a letter stating that they would defy mandatory military service despite the risk of jail. And they're citing the occupation of Palestine. The letter criticizes the policies of Israel's racist government. People are slowly catching on. I want to really quickly talk about children for a minute, because the next slide is going to bring this home. Look at who ranks the biggest in child poverty, in the rate of child poverty. And there's a very good reason why. They don't care. And because they don't care, guess what? Foster children are drugged 13 times the rate of children living with their parents. This is no accident. It's called dumbing people down. And, on the video that's available on YouTube or on social media, you see the kids holding up their bag and opening it. This is for this. This pill is for that. This pill is for this. And it goes on and on. A little bit of humor in the news today, in our news today on Snapshot. J.K. Rowling was tweeting about Donald Trump when someone sent her this tweet. Aren't you British? Mind your own business. And her response was beautiful. She said, when a man this ignorant and so easy to manipulate gets within sniffing distance of the nuclear codes, it's everyone's business. Another quick reminder of how our money is not going into infrastructure, says this photo. This is not the third world. This is in Houston, Texas. It's a photo of the Democrat Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee's congressional district in Houston, Texas. She's been in charge of the district since 1995. And we have a baby doll. There's nothing too particular about it, right? But this doll is programmed to ask for the flu shot. So, and the kids really believe them. The kids they see them as God, right? So this is all programming at a very young age. Greg, I wanted your opinion on fluoride and aluminum, because now the U.S. government finally admits Americans have been overdosed on fluoride for decades. Well, you know what else they're doing for decades? They've been spraying aluminum, barium, and strontium. In one show, we already know that the spraying of aluminum and what happens is when the aluminum hits the soil and hits the trees and hits
Luca,
Mother Earth.
You there?
Oh, he can't hear me. Uh-oh. Can you hear me now? Oh, our connection is unstable.
Okay. All right. It looks like NSA is giving our show grief again. Okay.
Right. No.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. All
I
right.
can hear you fine.
Okay. Yes. Now the fluoride issue.
Yes, I wanted to talk about fluoride and aluminum, because aluminum is used as a fire accelerant, and also when fluoride and aluminum get together, it causes chaos, premature Alzheimer's, all kinds of horrible effects to the human body, and this is all planned, right?
Yes, Absolutely. Yeah. And by the way, aluminum, when you're making explosives and you need to produce a detonator, you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. All you need to do is shave aluminum, okay, into, into the explosive. Just shave aluminum and then put an electrical cord into the aluminum. That's that is what produces that detonation of any other explosive. It's a very good explosive, but that just goes to show you just how what a low melting temperature aluminum has
Yeah.
and how explosive it can be. So,
Right. Well, Greg, but before I go, this is my last picture that I have to show, and I have to share this because
okay.
the Supreme Court did not take Greg's case, but they took this one. The Oregon court forcing a Christian baker to pay lesbian couple $135,000. So I had to post that because we've talked in several shows about the fact that the Supreme Court did not want to touch Greg's case of being renditioned and being tortured in Iraq by his own people, but rather they let this case in, and this is the decision of the High Court of the land.
Yeah, I was tortured and renditioned because I wouldn't commit war crimes, and I tried to stop the war crimes that were going on. Now, on the other hand, I'd like to point out that the officers that ordered all of this, okay, not only were they not punished, but surprise, they were given, when they got back, six-figure salaries, all right? Six-figure salaries, and they were actually put into the company that is spying on every single person in America. Yes, that is called the Carlyle Group, all right? And it worked, and let's see, their company is Booz Allen Hamilton,
Right.
okay? Yeah, and everybody knows who Ed Snowden is now. Well, surprise, folks. Ed Snowden worked for Booz Allen Hamilton. And what is he doing? He tried to tell everyone that this company is spying on you. All right. Well, that's, I mean, I just love this country at times, but other times I really wonder what happened. Okay. Starting at the end of World War II. And I'm going to give you some absolute shocking information. Guaranteed you have not had it before, but this will give you an idea who is behind the Carlyle Group, as in who started Carlyle? Mm-hmm. The Bush family. Who else? Okay. And I've got a lot more about them that is going to shock you right to your core. But what I want to point out something, folks, is this. You have to react. You have to act. All right. Mm-hmm. I just got back from a store and it is called Trader Joe's. Okay. And Trader Joe's, they have somebody in front just asking people to sign a petition, like to stop the gross taxing of fossil fuel in the United States. And I sat there for 20 minutes and watched this poor young man struggling just to explain the issues and to get people just to sign. Not one person signed his petition in California to lower the taxes. It benefited everybody, this petition. Not one person stopped. So I finally stopped and signed it and mentioned to him that I would mention it on this show. Look, people, when somebody's trying to help you, don't hinder them. Take a few seconds out of your lives, your daily lives, to help that person. All right. Does that sink in? All right. Don't, oh, well, I'll get back to you later. Oh, right. Well, I'm too busy right now. No, exactly. You're not. No, you're not. All right. And everybody sits and bitches and complains when the government just, in laissez-faire, they raise your taxes. They know they can do it. They know you're going to sit on your ass, right on your butt, and let them do it. And big deal if you complain. Who cares, right? Okay, so, please, when somebody's trying to help you, don't sit there with indifference and look down upon them. because that's what these people were doing. For 20 minutes at least, I saw this. Okay, I am going to give you folks something that is too horrifying for you to believe. And yes, it affects you. All right? It affects every single person listening to this.
Greg, we're losing you. Do you want to cut the video off so we can hear you better on audio?
Okay.
And I'll put a picture on.
Okay.
Because I don't want to miss. I don't think we want to miss what you're going to say.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you fine. Yes.
Okay. Good. Good. Okay. All right. What we have is a situation here, folks. It is life and death for you. All right. I want to repeat that. Life and death for you. Okay. You know, when 9/11 hit, I'd had the briefing 14 months before. Okay. You all know that. We've already talked about it, folks. Don't sit there on your hands with this. Okay. Mm-hmm. And by the way, I just wanted to say, Luca, that picture of those tanks, you call them tanks?
Yes.
Those are M113 personnel carriers provided by the United States of America. Those were American personnel carriers. And guess what, folks? Your hard-earned money, billions of dollars a year money goes to Israel, okay? So they can buy all that equipment and buy more military equipment, and they can behave in that fashion. Just about the day that they did, and when the USS Liberty was attacked, our ship, our people, okay, we're coming up on the date, by the way, and this was during this, what was it, the 67 war?
Yeah.
And surprise, it took how many years and how many U.S. admirals tried to stop the survivors from getting their benefits? Our people, all right? And especially when I saw President Lyndon Baines Johnson shouting around his office, I want that goddamn ship on the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
Say what? Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, as long as we're talking about Mr. LBJ, I've spoken to you people many, many times about this, the assassination of JFK.
Right.
Yesterday, I saw footage of LBJ saying specifically this, okay, that yes, he suspects that there was foreign involvement in the assassination of JFK. All right. I've told you 6 of the 10. I've confirmed 6 of the 10 foreign powers that signed off on the murder, okay, of an American president. All right. And it was LBJ who was leading that group. But boy, do I have something for you. Just, I want you to sit up, listen in your chair, okay, and don't slump off and go turn on football or something. Right. Listen to this, folks. How many people that are listening to this, how many people believe that JFK, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, is buried in Arlington? What, 100% believe that he's buried? The eternal flame, all this stuff, remember that? Yeah. I've stood at the gravesite, okay? I stood at the gravesite of Robert Kennedy, okay? You know who the only person is that in that gravesite in Arlington who belongs there? Jackie Kennedy, all right? Because the person lying next to Jackie Kennedy isn't her husband, John F. Kennedy. You got it? Oh, this guy's nuts. He's crazy. Mm-hmm. Hey, I'll tell you what, anybody listening, we'll make a bet, okay, on what I make in a month, which is quite a bit, all right? Hey, I want you to listen to this. Oh, yeah, no, he's crazy. Everybody's getting a big smile. This guy's off his rocker, okay? Well, hate to say it, but there's some very good investigators in this country, all right? And I just read, who happened to be a good friend, I just read her investigation. And guess what? The lone wolf, okay, the lone wolf, Mr. Oswald Lee Harvey, well, he had been sent to Russia and trained with Russian intelligence assassination experts.
Yeah.
Okay, then he came back to Mexico, and so he could meet with his controller. All right, and yes, guess who paid Mr. Oswald? The FBI. That's what his taxes say to this day. The FBI paid his salary. Okay, he was assigned to the CIA, and yes, he did know how to shoot. But here, okay, here's the next big question. All right. By the way, the person lying next to Jackie Kennedy isn't her husband. Is not N-O-T, her husband. And have the American people been fed a lie for 50 some odd years? Yes, it is not her husband. Want to take a bet? Want to take a bet on that? Oh, we can't just dig him up and check. We can dig anybody else up. All right. So I suggest we get a court order. There's enough going on about this assassination to question even that. Who do we have? Who do we have in the grave? Okay, of JFK. All right. I'll tell you. Go ahead. And if you think I'm full of it, ha ha ha, laugh, laugh, laugh. Go ahead and have them call write in with their questions. All right. Because guess what, folks? It gets even worse. All right.
Yeah.
Yes, the picture that everyone has seen of JFK lying on a postmortem exam table. Do you think that's JFK? Do you think that photo was photoshopped? All right. You think that? Oh, yeah, right. They can do anything with pictures now. You're right. You're right, and you would be right. Okay. I saw a picture of me put out by the CIA when I reported the torture and abuse going on in Iraq, and it was supposed to be me in this Navy SEALs. Okay. All right. Funny, I don't remember taking that photo. I don't remember seeing me ever wearing that camouflage with a SEAL Team Trident. There it is. That's me. Okay. Well, folks, you better wake up. Okay. Here's why. Yeah, 7 days ago, we had a ICBM missile in components loaded onto a 747 in Atlanta Airport, and Savannah, Georgia provided weapons-grade plutonium, okay, enough for a detonation and a fissile payload of the 6 multiple re-entry vehicles on that missile, okay? It was sitting at, and the fire that was at Atlanta, because you people don't seem to challenge anything else, you seem to just sit there. I mean, 3,000 people slaughtered in front of your eyes, Americans, and what happened? Oh, George W. Bush lied through his teeth, did everything he could to stop the investigation, and when it was finally allowed, they let a bunch of Israelis come in and run the operation, okay? It was Israelis, folks, who brought those buildings down, and it was the Saudis who paid for it, okay? And guess who was in charge of those buildings? This doesn't take an IQ of 200, folks. It takes an IQ of about 10, all right? Marvin Bush,
right,
son of George H.W. Bush, okay? Well, guess what? Because we sat there, rotated on our thumbs, stuck our thumbs up our butt, and didn't do anything, all right? Yeah, guess what? They're back again. Hey, we can do this again. The Israelis, of course. And yes, they are going to be firing that missile that left on that plane with that weapons-grade plutonium from Savannah River, okay? It was put on that plane. The theta sensors were shut down, okay, because surprise, somebody used, where have we heard this before? Thermite to cut the power lines. Thermite, okay? All right. You know, I have a half-wit for a brother, okay? One of those stepbrother things. Even he could figure it out, all right? My grandmother could figure all this out, baking cookies, okay? So here, I want everybody to figure it out because I don't want you to feel bad. when something very bad happens in a few days, all right? Because that missile is in Israel right now, okay? They're trying to figure out how to, first of all, interlock the components, okay? They used to call those neutron weapons, by the way, and they are going to load that plutonium up, okay? And they are going to fire it at the United States and say that it came from Iran, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what they're going to say. Okay, and of course, all you Joe six-packs out there sitting there with your gap-mouthed, faces and looking for your next beer. Okay, it's probably headed our way sooner than later. Understand that. God damn Arabs, God damn terrorists, they did it again to us. Okay, that's what you're going to be saying. Well, yes, that's what's going to happen. I'm so tired of telling everyone this, and it all comes true. And here it is. It's coming at you, folks. Now, the decision makers are trying to say, "Oh, well, where do we hit first? We could put it right into New York, okay? New York City, all right, with paste pecani sauce, New York City, okay? Well, it could go there, but they're debating right now between 3 select sites in California, West Coast, okay, maybe even Seattle, maybe even Portland, all right? But, the West Coast, and or they want to seriously think about New York, okay? Did I stutter? Did that come across as a stutter, Luca?
No.
No, it didn't, did it? Okay. Now, here's why. First of all, George H.W. Bush is finally, that miserable reptilian son of a bitch is finally starting to die, okay? He's dying, and he's not quite sure what's waiting for him on the other side. I know, been there, done that. I know what's waiting for him, and believe me, it isn't angel's set of wings either, okay? Now, here it is. You've had your warning, okay? You've had your warning that this thing is on the way, and I just got even more information to show you how kind the Bush family has been. By the way, remember Bush Bavarian beer, Anheuser-Busch?
Yeah.
I had heard some rumor that, they changed their name from Bush, B-U-S-C-H, to Bush, B-U-S-H, okay? So what we have is the son of the scions, okay, multi-gazillionaires by the name of Brown and Harriman, okay, the law firm of Brown and Harriman, all right, and this is around 1911, 1912, and they bring in, because this idiot was a son-in-law, okay, and they realized that they could trust him because he was a miserable, lying, no-good trader that would gladly sell out America and sell out his fellow countrymen to actually join a group called the Nationalist Socialist Movement, okay? And guess who that is, folks? That is the Nazis. The Nazis. Well, you're wondering, how do I know this? I told you, if you listen to my show, I told you how I found this out, all right? It was by the man who was in charge of Hitler's heavy water project, Hydro Norsk, okay? He told me, and I'm telling you free of charge, okay? I mean, we can't even get any donations to run. Look at that. It's pretty free here, okay? And so what happens, okay? Now, Edmund Musée comes over to this country, and he is of course, considered the father of what is it? Slow burn fusion, okay? Slow burn fusion, AKA unchained nuclear reaction, right? And surprise, all these people that we call bad old Nazis, well, they were invited into our country, and one of the first things that they insisted on when the war was finally over, isn't that how our leaders do all this? I've got a handle on this. They get you into trouble, America. You better listen up because you fought 2 world wars and a whole bunch of shitbox wars since that time, okay? What they do is they get you into trouble, and then they say, okay, you people fight your way out. And when you fight your way out, then they step back and say, okay, thank you very much. We're back in charge. That's what happened.
Yeah.
So with Prescott Bush, very noble sounding name, Prescott Bush. Yes, Prescott Bush actually did this, all right? He came back and everyone was saying, we want this son of a bitch tried and executed. Oh, no, no, no. After Operation Paperclip, okay?
Yes.
If you don't know what it is, I'm tired of telling you, look it up, okay? Huntsville, Alabama, okay? Hey, Nazi Central, all right? Their space program, where do you think that came from? Okay, you know, you were told that Hitler died in that bunker
Right.
in Berlin, right? No, he didn't. He went on and he met with 3 American presidents in South America to put the paperclip program together. It gets better, folks. You know, now you know you've been lied to since World War II, nonstop, okay? And so here, now we have the Bush folks, okay, basically out of control. They can do anything they want, all right? So what is the first thing they do is they say, hey, we need a super duper intelligence program, okay? So who do they bring in? They bring in Galen, Reinhard Galen, okay? That name doesn't mean anything to you. I happen to know his son. So it means a lot to me, and it means a lot to his son, dear old dad, okay, as the expert on military intelligence coming from the Third Reich to set us up with the intelligence that they had gathered on the Russians during World War II, okay? Hopefully you're understanding this, and if they have any questions, put them in a format and send them to you, right, Luca? Okay.
Yeah, Greg, isn't Werner von Braun also another one? Because I have a picture of Werner von Braun standing there in front of a missile with JFK explaining him how it works, you know, with the nukes that you can put on the tip of the missile, etc.
Yes, yes. That is Werner von Braun, right. The father of modern rocketry.
Yes.
A genius in every sense of the word, okay?
Yeah.
And as Edmund Musée said, Dr. Musée told me, he said, yes, the discipline that the Germans brought to science, that's what he misses, all right? They were a disciplined people, but it didn't mean they weren't monsters, okay? So understand this, right? We have a government, we have a group of people that are Nazis. They're still Nazis, all right, that have been in charge, okay, of our country. Now, okay, so I'll speed this up, all right, because I'm sure all the Joe Six-Packs out there, their heads are nodding if they're listening at all, all right? Here's what we have now, okay? Remember, all right, that we had the Chiang Kai-shek, the general with the nationalist Chinese army, okay? We had Mao Zedong. Well, they all needed payment, you know, to launch their armies to keep another war going. So guess who decided that they needed to accommodate all of these folks? Yes, the Bush family. And the Bush family said, we need an intelligence organization. Oh, there's already one in existence. It's called the OSS at that point. The Bush family, the Browns, the Harrimans, okay, decide we're going to work out a deal with that other great lawyer, okay, William Donovan, Wild Bill, wink, wink, okay. Wild Bill said, okay, we'll just turn it into the CIA, okay, give you credit, Wild Bill, all right. And that's exactly what they did. And the first thing they did was set up drug organizations, drug production, all right. Notice how we still have a problem with drugs in this country. We have the largest opium epidemic ever, okay? People like Gary Webb said, look, wake up. We are being sold drugs by our own people, okay? Our own intelligence organization. You saw what happened to him, shot twice in the head, all right? Twice in the head, okay? less than a quarter of a mile from where I'm sitting. So what we have now is we have the CIA working for the kleptocracy. Yes, only rich people get to use the services of the CIA.
Right.
Only rich people, okay? And the Bush family starts from all this money that they're using from selling drugs to Americans, okay? They take their money and start drilling for oil in the Caribbean, okay? Drilling oil platforms. Everybody's seen the picture of little Georgie, okay, sitting on the oil platform when he's 10 years old, helping dear old dad out, right? Well, where do you think the cocaine came into America from? Colombia, all right? And guess who was organizing the cartels in Colombia? Any ideas, George? George Sr., any ideas? Okay, and putting the finished product onto the oil platforms and sending it directly to the United States. Okay, I even found out a new town that nobody knows about where they were actually using it as a clearinghouse in Tennessee, Western Tennessee, on the way to Mena, Arkansas. Okay, and so what we have here, folks, is the Bush family. They are the largest drug dealers in history, modern history. Okay, they have started more wars like Vietnam. Has anybody heard of Vietnam? Okay, well, gee, we're getting pretty cynical here. I'm getting pretty cynical because it appears now that we never were allowed to win. And why we were there, I'm sure everyone has forgotten, including me. Okay, why we were in Vietnam. No, we weren't there to stop the domino effect of communists. Okay, right. Gosh, no, we were there to earn money from the Iron Triangle and the Golden Triangle for more money for the Bush family to spend. In fact, they made so much that the CIA virtually bought every media outlet except for the brand new and improved, that's us, by the way, media sources, okay? But they own all media in America because of all the drugs that they used to buy those TV stations, radio stations, whatever, okay? That's what we have here is the Bush family. No wonder. I even gave on another show, I even gave the name and the bank number of the Bush family with their $28 billion in the Bank of Hungary, all right? In the Bank of Hungary, Budapest, as a matter of fact, all right? So what we have here now is Vietnam. And here, I want everybody to really listen because I'm sure we have somebody that's directly affected by this. Agent Orange. We're coming into local time zones here. Agent Orange, folks. You know what that was? You know, the CIA says, oh yeah, it's to remove the vegetation in Vietnam, the jungles in Vietnam, to actually help the troops find Charlie. Kill a commie for mommy. Remember that? Okay. Well, that's what they wanted to do. No, Agent Orange was ordered by George W. Bush. Okay, I'm sorry, George H.W. Bush Sr. He ordered the use of Agent Orange. 400,000 people were affected directly by Agent Orange and have the lethal conditions brought on by Agent Orange. Well, no wonder Oklahoma City blew up. Okay, we can thank Cody for that. Yes, George H.W. Bush, okay, ordered the dispersal, the spraying of tons and tons of Agent Orange, okay, at the behest of his buddies, the DuPonts, and they sprayed Agent Orange by the ton to wipe out the competition, the opium fields and competition of George H.W. Bush so they could sell more drugs from the Emerald Triangle, the Golden Triangle, the Iron Triangle. Okay, got it? Okay, our presidents have produced some, you know, the presidency has produced the biggest drug dealers in history, American history. George H.W. Bush. And yeah, George H.W. Bush, you son of a bitch. Hell, I'll tell you this for free. There's a nice little incubator in hell waiting for you, and it's never going to end. Okay?
Mm.
It's never going to end, you sanctimonious phony, you son of a bitch. Okay?
Yep.
Oh, we can't call him a son of a bitch. Yeah, I'll call him a son of a bitch anytime. Okay? And in the meantime,
Greg, there's something else in the meantime. Yeah, before you change the subject of that, people should know that the Harriman brothers were also the ones that laid rail in and out of Auschwitz.
yes.
An American company laying the rail in and out of Auschwitz. That's just part of the incredible amount of money that the Bushes made. I had to throw that in. But
Oh, absolutely.
are we going to have to wait till the next show for you to say who was the second JFK?
The second JFK.
Yes,
Okay.
the person that was put, because we know, the people that do research know that there were two bodies, and that the real casket went out the back, and the second casket goes out the front. You can tell they're not even lifting. They don't even look like they're lifting something heavy. They're not even straining. So
Right. Well, yeah, sure. I'll tell you. Okay. I don't. We're coming up on New Year's now.
yeah.
Okay. And there is a former policeman who was shot the day the president was assassinated. Okay. By 8 gunmen, 8 separate gunmen, and I do now have the name, number, and a picture of the assassin who actually killed Kennedy. Okay. Yes, I know who killed Kennedy. I know who killed Kennedy. Okay. And by the way, most of those assassins, yes, they were all paid for good work. Okay. And yes, it had been authorized by Clint Murchison of the Dallas Cowboys and several other Texas oil luminaries. Okay. But surprise here, it wasn't the luminaries. Okay. Yes, Carlos Marcello was angry. And I can say this, angry. Okay. Angry at the Kennedys. All right. Yeah. And his bookkeeper, okay, who gave me a lot of information, okay, said, yes, here's what they're doing, and here's all the people that have signed off on the death of Kennedy. Well,
Right.
LBJ told all those folks less than 24 hours before that they would remove Kennedy, okay? But what it appears to now is this situation, is the Bush family, George H.W. Bush, did not want to get into an organized crime syndicate fight. Okay, remember whose dear old dad was Kennedy? Joe Kennedy. Okay, he was as big a thug and big a criminal as anybody's ever seen in this country. They had a crime empire. The Kennedys did. They were getting into a set two. Okay, and there was a big thing about shooting made men. Okay, I saw The Godfather. I know how this works. Okay, you don't shoot a made man, right? Well, that's what it was, folks, was one organized crime syndicate knocking off another organized crime syndicate. Okay? You want to find out what Kennedy was all about? Yes. All the other issues, oils and Vietnam and so forth. I just told you why they had to fight over Vietnam. That was the gateway to billions in drug profits.
Right.
Okay? That's why Agent Orange was used, to wipe out any competition to the Bush family. All right. That's why we have Colombia. Pablo Escobar, mad dog that he was, he even knew this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So the only people that don't know, as I found out when I was reporting a position on Osama bin Laden, okay, was this, is the last people to know about anything are Americans, because you are kept in the dark intentionally, and you're dumb enough to pay for the privilege. Okay. Right. You're dumb enough to pay for the privilege. What is this? Trump says no, he's not going to release information to the American people that, was it the CIA had at least 50 years to get the information ready, at least 50 years to cover it up and whitewash it. Okay. Sorry. All right. But you're not going to get to see it for another couple of months. Okay.
Right.
Well, That's why, folks, okay, that was the CIA saying, we'll let you know what you're going to see, okay? So that's what we have here is the CIA running the show and maintaining massive drug profits, based on Americans ODing and using drugs, okay? So that's what we have here. Now, you asked about Mr. Officer Tippit. Yes, Officer Tippit is buried in the tomb of JFK in Arlington. The flame of it, the eternal flame, okay, which wasn't, by the way, wasn't burning when I was there that day. And Jackie is buried next to him, all right. Robert Kennedy is buried where he's supposed to be, all right. Another victim, by the way, another victim of the CIA. And so what we have is Tippit, who is known by the nickname of JFK by the police force in Dallas. He was shot and killed intentionally after a radio message was sent to G. Gordon Liddy, who had been shadowing Officer Tippit. 8 witnesses saw G. Gordon Liddy shoot to mimic the same head wounds and trauma that Kennedy had received just a few minutes before, shoot Officer Tippit, okay, in the head. But the problem was he didn't quite do it all the way. So with an immediate panic setting in, all right, yes, Officer Tippit was killed. Hardly anything was mentioned about Officer Tippit. But if you want to see him, you want to see him naked, lying on the postmortem table,
Right.
you look at the picture of JFK, all right? JFK is J.D. Tippit, Officer Tippit, okay?
That picture with him lying on his back with half the chest exposed with the head wound.
Yes.
Right.
Right. You've got it. Okay.
Yep.
Everyone knew there it wasn't Kennedy. Okay. Oh yeah, we're the U.S. government, and if you say a word about it, you're going to prison.
Right. We got to get you out of the room. You leave the room, please. I remember that. Yep.
You know what we say now? Fuck you. Fuck you, CIA. Fuck you, U.S. government. You lying sons of bitches. You kill our president, and we have to sit there and listen to threats from you. Okay. That's what we have here.
It's a big lie, Greg. It's a big, big lie. One lie after another. And people are really surprised that the world's like imploding the way it is.
Well, even the whole process of the assassination, look what it has brought us. Okay, 50 years of not knowing, of watching our own agencies lie to us, take money, sell drugs. And by the way, if you want to see, and I confirmed this earlier today, okay, yes, Bush is the top dog, top of the tyrants, so to speak. Drugs, weapons, crime. The crime families. The crime families are scared to death of the Bushes. They hate his guts. Okay, financial institutions, medical institutions, colleges. Hey, he's into them all. All right. I found the one that he couldn't corrupt. Okay, I mean I was as startled as anybody. There's only one group he could not corrupt. Okay, and the reason why is somebody named Dick Cheney had already done that. Okay, and I'll tell you, it's the Agency of Weights and Measurements. Okay, that is the only obscure, faceless U.S. agency that H.W. Bush could not corrupt, okay? And everybody says, well, why is that? Well, because Cheney had managed to corrupt Weights and Measurements with all the false shipments of oil going from Casper, Wyoming to Cheyenne, Wyoming, okay? And by the way, Mr. Cheney, I'm sure you're going to hear about this. Yes, there were 3 reports made on you shorting those tanks and making up the difference in the shortage by shipping those at a different hour of the day. Okay? So what happens to oil when it gets hot? It thins. What happens to oil when it gets cold? It shrinks and gets thicker, okay? But less in volume, all right? So what we have there is that, okay? Everyone understands, okay, that yes, know this, is that it is not Kennedy. You people have been fed a line of shit, absolute bullshit.
Mm,
Bullshit. Okay. Back from the days when if the government said something, it was the honest to God truth. There was no challenging it. If
absolutely. Yeah.
if they said no, there weren't really extraterrestrials.
Mm,
Okay, yeah, that's it. If something happened in Roswell, oh well, that's it. It was a weather balloon. Wink, wink. Okay, that's it, folks. What we have is all of this. All right, and then it was all summarized on the Clintons. Okay, gee, it's funny. They were supposed to be such hated enemies, and guess what happened? It turns out they were the best of friends. I
yep.
mean, the Bushes even wanted their daughters to be like Hillary. If, in fact, Hillary is the one daughter that they couldn't ever have. They wish they had, but they couldn't. Okay,
Mm,
gee, and and but Hillary's a pedophile. Hillary's into white slavery. Hillary's into drugs. Okay, well, gee, what's the difference between that and the Bush family? All right, there is none.
no.
Okay, but all of this, okay, and I'll wrap this up because I know I don't want to lose the attention
Oh,
span of Americans. It's not very long. Okay, most Americans have the attention span of a housefly. Okay,
right.
so here's the deal. All right, is all of this came to reside, and I kept asking myself that, with my limited intelligence. All right, I kept asking myself, why would terrorists go out of their way to blow up the Murrah building, the F. Murrah building in Oklahoma City,
Mm,
Oklahoma? What? Strike at the heartland of America? I don't think so, folks. Okay, no. Here's the deal. It was blown up intentionally to hide the 400,000 Agent Orange and Gulf War nerve gas
yep.
syndromes that were there reported to the VA. It was blown up. Okay, and also all the information on drug importation, who was doing what, the 400 drug production sites. Okay, that the CIA supports
Mhm.
very handsomely. Okay, yes, and the Clintons. Okay, the Clinton family. That wonderful Leave It to Beaver family called the
Right.
Clintons.
And it
Okay,
was it was also a test run to see how it would work because they were already planning 9/11 after that first explosion in 93. So it's like, it was a test run for 9/11. That's what that was.
remember, folks. Okay, when I was in North Dakota, and what did the instructors took me aside and said, we've got some strange things going on. Feds from the FBI were here trying to figure out how somebody like Timothy McVeigh, who was angry, boy,
Yes.
why does that play in all of this? Anger, who had made and engineered a bomb comparable to the one that flattened and destroyed the Beirut Marine Barracks, okay, killed 300.
Yep.
Now, how would he learn how to use obtuse theorems like the nerve gas jets, okay, the Clark effect,
Mm,
compressed inert gas, okay, exploded, okay? How would he know how to use marble as the backing, under backing, to direct that force of directed gas jets? How would he know how to do that? Okay, if he was this stupid halfwit that the only thing he did in his entire life was take the night vision goggles to the special forces unit that murdered everyone at Waco. Oh, did I say that?
mm.
Did I say that, Luca?
Oh yeah.
No. Okay.
We did a couple
Yeah.
of shows ago. Yeah. We're getting
Okay.
into it and it all makes sense now.
Okay.
But Greg, we really have to wrap it up because
Yes.
we're running out of time. Um,
Okay. Well, from the Bonanno family and the Gambino family, supporters of both Donald Trump and, okay, everybody remembers our present leader now, okay, who is not innocent of any of this, all right, and the Bonanno family, okay, Joe Bonanno and Bill Bonanno, all right, who brought Hillary Clinton into the was it Bilderberger group, okay,
right. Yep.
yeah, it was Bill and Joe who made her a made girl, okay. Yeah, well, they say goodnight too, and I'm sure they're listening. I'm sure everyone's listening. Okay, and let's work on getting somebody who was offered offered the contract to destroy the Oklahoma City building, okay, and murder all those innocents, children. Let's see what we can do about getting them on the show, okay? So even the Joe Sixpacks, we don't want to believe that our country is as compromised and pimped out since World War II as it is by the Bush family, okay? Let's make sure we get him on to affirm everything we've heard.
Well, Greg, I'm going to wrap this up because that's actually something I wanted to talk about, because we did promise on the last show that we were going to have him here, and we were hoping to have him here, but he has disappeared, or he has gone into hiding. We haven't heard anything from him, and we're keeping on it. We're giving him messages of hope, asking him to please get a hold of us if he can. And, you know, after a really bad car accident like that, that was supposed to take his life. It must be very disturbing. That must be gut-wrenching for him. Plus, plus with the family. So I can't thank you enough, Greg. This is another great show. And on the next show, remind me, we're going to talk about the 4,000 sealed indictments that are going on and who they're targeting, because that's
about time. Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, if that happens, you know, and I said that we have a ICBM missile running around loose, courtesy of Israel, okay, guess where it's coming? It's not going into Iran. It's not going to North Korea. It's coming here, folks, because they can tell us anything, and our own pimped out politicians will make us believe it with our own money. That's the killer right there.
Yeah,
our own money is paying for this.
We're paying for our own destruction. Think of that until next show. Thank you so much, Greg. And we'll see you next time. And I'm sorry we don't have the video, but we will probably next time anyway.
Okay, there it is, my friend. Thank you for our listeners, because that is my New Year's gift to all our listeners, is that you have been totally bamboozled, raped, ripped off, screwed, misled, and now they're going to get you into another super duper terrorist strike. Okay, so there it is. Understand that, and any questions, have them type it down, jot it down, and send it to you, and I'll be more than willing to answer any question. All right, except for the ones from the agency or NSA. Yeah. All right. Okay. Take care, my friend.
Thank you. We'll talk again soon.
Okay, and Happy New Year's to all our listeners, too.
Absolutely. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Great. Thanks so much.
Bye.